Have you ever finished a one-on-one feeling, well, somehow smaller? Have you ever finished a workday feeling honestly hollowed out by a manager who technically did nothing wrong? Have you ever wondered if maybe you're just being too sensitive? Some bosses yell. Some bosses don't have to. If any of that sounds familiar, you're not imagining it. There's a really specific kind of manager who drains you without leaving evidence. No yelling, no policy violation, just a slow, quiet kind of tired that builds week after week. Today, let's name 7 signs of that pattern together. Number 1. The feedback that gives you nothing to act on. You ask what you can improve. The answer comes back gentle, abstract, and basically impossible to use. Be more strategic. Have more presence. Maybe a kind smile follows, and you walk away with the strange feeling that something was said and nothing was said. So you spend 2 weeks trying to translate it. You over-prepare. You watch yourself in calls. Researcher Bennett Tepper, who has actually found something most of us were never told. The most damaging supervisory pattern usually isn't yelling. It's ambiguity. It's not vague guidance. It's directed fog. Number 2. The information that arrives late or just doesn't arrive at all. You find out a decision was already made. You find out a client meeting happened without you. You find out a deadline shifted from someone 2 desks over, not from the person who actually moved it. And when you ask, you hear a version of, "Oh, I thought you knew." Maybe you did miss the email. Maybe you didn't. Either way, you start carrying a low-grade sense that you're always one step behind your own role. It's not forgetfulness. It's a slow filtering of access. And access, at work, is just a quiet form of power. Number 3. The check-in that asks how you are, but isn't really asking. How are you doing really? The phrase lands warm. The eyes look concerned, and then somehow the conversation pivots back to the project before you've finished answering. So you start giving the answer that ends fastest. You learn to say, "Good, busy," and move on. Honestly, this one is harder to name than the others because nothing technically went wrong. Care was offered. Care was offered in a way that doesn't actually have room for a real reply. And you start to lose trust in your own read of warmth at work. It's not care. It's the choreography of care. Number 4. The praise in private, silence in public. You hear glowing things in your 1-1. You hear nothing when it counts. The credit somehow lands at a higher altitude than you. Your work surfaces in a leadership meeting under someone else's framing. The strangest part is that you can't really point to a theft. Nothing was taken. The room just slowly forgot whose hands the work came from. Psychologist Dacher Keltner at Berkeley, who has spent decades studying power, calls this the power paradox. The traits that get people promoted, like empathy and attention to others, often fade once they actually have the power. So they stop seeing you. Not on purpose, just steadily. Number 5. The amnesia about what was said last time. You bring up the goal that was agreed on 3 months ago. They look puzzled. You bring up the workload conversation from spring. They reframe it as your interpretation. So you start screenshotting things. You start emailing yourself summaries. You basically become an unpaid archivist of your own career. Truthfully, the harm of a quiet boss is harder to name than the harm of a loud one, and that's exactly why it lingers. The selective memory isn't always a tactic. Sometimes it's just power, which has been shown in neuroscience research to literally dampen the brain's tuning to other people's experience. It's not gaslighting on purpose. It's still gaslighting in effect. Number 6. The 1-1 that drains more than the actual work. You blocked 30 minutes. You leave the call feeling somehow lower than when you joined. You can't really remember what was said. You only remember the texture of it. Small corrections, light disappointment, half-smiled questions about your timeline. The 1-1. The 1-1 is regularly scheduled. The 1-1 is also regularly dreaded. Chances are, if you keep replaying a 30-minute meeting for 2 days, the meeting actually wasn't 30 minutes long for your nervous system. Robert Sutton at Stanford, who wrote about workplace bullying, found that even witnesses to bad management absorb the stress. So you're not soft, you're metabolizing something. Number 7. The off hours that quietly disappear. No one actually asked you to answer at 9 p.m. No one wrote it into the job. And yet, the pattern formed. A message lands at 7. A quick thought lands at 8. A no rush but lands at 9. And you reply because the cost of not replying just feels heavier than the cost of replying. So Sunday starts feeling kind of like Monday's hallway. Friday night starts feeling like a brief pause before the next request. Most of us were never given the language for this. It's not dedication. It's a workplace that has quietly stopped distinguishing between your job and your life. And nobody honestly had to say a word. Look at the 7 together, and a pattern shows up that doesn't really have a single villain in it. It's the vague feedback paired with the withheld information and the kind dismissal that quietly fades into faded credit. It's the 1-1 that lands too late, the conversation that gets re-edited by Thursday, and the post-meeting flatness that follows you home. No raised voices, no HR violation, just a slow drift in whose nervous system carries the cost. And your body honestly has been logging all of it long before your inbox could show it. If any of this is sitting in your chest right now, you're not weak, you're not behind, and you are not imagining the pattern. You're naming something that was always quieter than it should have been. Tell the others in the comments which sign landed first. Just one, the rest can wait. And whatever you choose to do next, may it feel steadier, lighter, and finally yours.